takes a lot of courage to get up on stage to perform 7 challenging postures in 3 minutes in front of so many people wearing absolutely almost nothing. I've done it 5 times. I've done 3 of the regionals and 2 of the nationals. But here I am today doing something different. I'm telling you my story, which in all honesty, despite the fact that I have competed, that I'm a teacher, and I own a yoga studio, I have a story that's much like yours. I'm just curious, how many of you have done yoga before? You can raise your hand. Great. How many of you have done Bikram yoga before? Awesome. How many of you have never done yoga before? You just won't raise your hand. And how many are inspired to do the yoga after seeing what you've seen already this afternoon? Awesome. There is a famous quote, "The privilege of a lifetime is to be exactly who you are." Simple. But what tools do we have to explore and become our authentic selves? It wasn't until yoga that I began to sharpen my character, to confront more of my truth, and give myself a real physical in terms of the health of my body. I started yoga 12 years ago after my mother passed away. Mary Jarvis, who is a senior yoga instructor in San Francisco, was my mentor and continues to be. For me, there was an instant reaction, there was an instant attraction to the yoga. I knew it was something very powerful that I would stick with, and I bet most of you that have done the yoga feel the same way. I've always been an athlete. I worked out many long hours each day, and now I was incorporating about 3 days a week of a Bikram yoga practice. That was my chosen discipline. It wasn't until a teacher of mine who I really respected sort of challenged me to take the yoga 5 days a week. So she wanted me to put aside all my other workouts and said, let's just see what the yoga does. And I thought she was absolutely crazy. What do you mean? Give up my runs, give up my body pump class. But like a seed set in soil, there it was beginning to open up and blossom. And I did it. And the truth is I kept doing it. It was hard, but it was good. I felt a new body, I felt a new mind, and I had such amazing energy. Making the choice to do Bikram yoga was probably one of the best, if not the most important decisions of my life. Because from that point, everything changed, everything blossomed. For me, doing the same workout every day was it was a bore. Yet the yoga practice was different every single day. Puzzling too, is some days I was really strong, and other days I couldn't do a back bend to save my life. Right? The ebbs and flows of yoga teaches us to be humble and trust a process that's more than thousands of years old. A few years ago, I had my appendix removed. One weekend, I recall having an amazing pain around my abdominal area, and I just talked it up, cramping. However, intuitively, it hit me that something was really wrong. I decided that maybe the heating pad around my stomach wasn't such a good idea. So the next day, I took myself into the emergency room at Stanford. I remember telling them at the reception desk that I was really fine. I had some unusual abdominal pain, but there was no rush because others in there looked like they were more desperate than I was. I was called into a doctor that works mostly with travel medicine. So after learning that I did yoga, she began to ask so many smart questions about Bikram yoga. She had heard so much about it, and she wanted to know more about the heat and the intense stretches. She was really impressed by the overall health of my body. So I was feeling a little bit better, but she decided to take some tests. We talked for a while until the test results came back. She was in complete shock when she came back and told me that my appendix was inflamed, so much so that I had to have the operation right away. I wasn't very happy. I was completely confused and shocked. But what made this experience so worthwhile, despite having to have the surgery, was the validation of knowing that really I was in very good shape. They were amazed that they thought I had body tissue of a 24-year-old, and I'm in my 40s. They kept taking my blood pressure too because it was so low. However, what stood out was both my surgeon and the travel medicine doctor encouraging me to keep doing and teaching the yoga. And I say this to you, in their words, they said to me, we can help to cure the problem, but really it is prevention that is needed out there. And by the time they get to us, it's too late. These were Stanford doctors. Becoming a teacher and owning a yoga studio was the next best decision that I made in my life. And I could go on and on about the rewards teaching brings and the amazing sense of fulfillment that I get every time I walk into my yoga studio every day. Thank you, a lot of you that are here today. But that's another speech. So standing on the podium, though, teaching and watching all of you, and I say that in absolute form, because no matter the age, the size, the ability, the ethnicity, You come in and strip down to look at yourself for 90 long minutes to stretch, contract, extend, tighten, try to relax, to a dialogue that dictates your every move in an atmosphere that's suited for clean rooms, and you gladly sweat through those postures that are not comfortable at all. That's amazing. For me as a teacher, I see right through your story, because like I said, you have one. Your dad may be dying from Alzheimer's, you have bad knees, you have a weak thyroid, you've lost the love of your life. You know, the list goes on. And instead, what I watch is your courage to do the pose the right way. Your determination to get up slowly in third part of awkward pose. The willpower to lift your body up off the floor in Asana, right? Your discipline to keep your eyes on yourself in the front mirror, and your patience and compassion as you work so hard to do a beautiful bowl pulling posture. It's really poetic and mind-blowing. So I bump into students around town all the time, and one of my favorite students, who has been with me for a long time and now has his wife and his kids doing the yoga, saw me at Pete's Coffee. And for those of you who don't know me, Pete's Coffee is like my second home. So. And as unusual as it was for him, he came up and he gave me a big hug. He really wanted me to know that he didn't think that I was just doing something great for the community, but he thought I was doing something great for humanity. He added that the very reason he started yoga is only 10% of the reason as why he comes now. There is so much more, and I bet you can all agree. And that is the compelling reason we come back, our own discoveries, our own private experience, our own way to become exactly who we are. The next best decision that I made with the encouragement of my good friend Cynthia Ware was to compete. Are you here in this room? Oh, she's not. I wanted to thank her, but you can all tell her that I thanked her, right? And she is passionate for the yoga beyond measure, and she is not at all selfish about it. She will convince an aunt that with daily practice, they too can do a good back bend, right? I love her dearly for the constant, and I mean constant love and support she gives to every single student at our studio, and I'm sure all the students can agree. With her tutelage, I did get up there and do my 3 minutes. If you know Bikram, you know he likes to talk. And many times he will say the same thing over and over again, but over the years I've come to learn more and more about how brilliant he is. Each time I see him, I'm loaded with new experiences, new growth, so each time I hear the same story or the same phrase, it takes on a new meaning. Something in me has materialized, and I found this repetition of his is very profound and necessary. Thoughts like, negative thoughts are 9 times more powerful than positive ones, where you can hear him say, you come into this world to give, not to get. You can't afford to make a mistake, you must catch your mind in half a second. And you underestimate yourself all the time. And the other one he says a lot, right, our ultimate destination in life is mental peace. And there's so much more. Over the years, I've come to appreciate him more and more. I think because as I look back, I see how my life has changed, how my life has flourished. And performing those 7 poses in front of him on stage was the ultimate way to thank him. That was a big motivator for me to compete. So silently up on stage for 3 minutes in front of a live audience, like all the men have done already, being measured by 3 judges, how I am physically, how I am mentally, and how I am emotionally.